Why rich homie Quan snitched on Young Thug, man? YouTube, please don't copyright my shit. Please don't copyright my shit. 1090 shit.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all.
Y'all rocking with me.
For this video, we're gonna be speaking on rich homie Quan snitching. At this point, I'm not even surprised. Not only
YSL
has more paperwork,
it's Big Nut. Rest in peace.
Dropped in the YSL case, but an audio recording just dropped of none other than rich homie Quan spitting a whole verse to law enforcement.
Damn. Where are these niggas getting this info from, bro? Who's leaking this shit?
About Young Thug.
Young Thug can't come to Atlanta. He don't even want to stay in Atlanta. He's scared to be staying in Atlanta. Know what I'm saying? So Miami was the only spot I saw him at. Cause we had a show together. I was like, I'm gonna just ask the niggas at the show. Everybody been talking about everybody talking about it like I'm gonna just be a man and ask myself. Straight up, man shit. Straight up, man. Niggas know Thug and has something to do with it. We just can't prove it. Point blank period. Now he nigga snitching. That nigga snitching, bro. You a street nigga, you ain't supposed to say shit. That's how much I love Nut, man. Know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was real fucked up, bro.
While it may be hard for some to
Rest in peace, Nut.
understand rich homie speaking a language native to the streets of Atlanta, what he's speaking on is the very murder that would cause the fall of YSL.
This nigga is everywhere.
I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, man. You did. Atlanta, Georgia.
Big Nut.
There are shell casings up and down the street. Now, I'm told one of the men who was shot, a man in his mid-20s, is in critical condition, but that his status could change for the worse overnight.
Rich homie Quan's former manager, Donovan Thomas, who
Rest in peace.
went by the name Peanut or Big Nut, was a member of the Inglewood family Bloods. His 2015 assassination outside of an Atlanta barbershop would result in a back and forth war between
That little assassination is the real reason why Thug locked up for real.
between Inglewood family and sex money murder. The majority of the violence will be documented in the YSL indictment. Prosecutors allege Young Thug was in communications with sex money murder leader Kyle Ory, who's currently
This is the leader?
serving a life sentence in Georgia State Prison. Big Nut was said to have snitched against members of the gang, and prosecutors allege Young Thug orchestrated his death by renting the vehicle YSL members would later use to commit the drive-by that took Nut's life.
Damn.
After the hit, Thug and the alleged shooters would take a trip to Miami to lay low. Rich homie Quan would speak with investigators explaining he never saw Thug in Atlanta after the murder. He was going to confront him at a Miami show over the rumors that Thug played a part in Nut's death. Rich homie would allege people knew Thug had something to do with it, but they couldn't prove it. He'd then say he isn't a rat and he isn't telling. He's just keeping it real with investigators. Rich homie would also allege Thug was jealous of the relationship he had with Nut, as Thug wanted to control the Atlanta music scene and Nut was keeping Rich homie at a distance from Thug. This wasn't all Rich homie would speak on though. 2 pictures of the interview transcripts would make its way to News Made It. Rich homie would state him and Thug frequented or resided in the same condominium leading up to Nut's death and that they were cool. But after the murder, they drifted apart.
Makes sense because Nut was quoting Quan.
14 minutes into the interview, Rich homie would speak on his truck being shot up and immediately calling Young Thug, alleging his people were behind it. He'd then speak on his father's barber shop being shot up and knowing whoever did it had something to do with Nut's death. 4 months before Nut was killed, A gunman would open fire inside of a barber shop, striking Rich Homie's father 4 times.
Damn.
The barber shop had just been shot up a month.
That's why Quan not cool with Rich Homie, bro. That's why Quan not cool with Thug, bro. This shit makes sense.
Prior to this incident, investigators believe the attack stemmed from Rich Homie beefing with local rappers, but at the time, Rich Homie Quan denied the rumors. Now speaking with investigators, when asked why his father would be targeted, Rich Homie explained at the time, him and Thug were doing shows together, but he was getting the most money. They wanted his dad out of the picture to further control Rich Homie's management.
Makes sense.
And they knew his dad was at the barbershop 24/7. He had no proof Thug was behind the shooting, but he did bring up an argument his dad had with Birdman.
Damn.
His father wouldn't share the details on what was said, but would later tell him, "We're gonna fall back from them." 22 minutes into the interview, Rich Homie was asked why he wouldn't sign with Birdman. And he
Niggas had his dad shot up.
explained other artists are constantly complaining about their financial situation. He felt he'd make more money on his own and then later sign. Rich Homie would say that after Nut was killed, he didn't contact Thug and Thug didn't contact him. Thug would move out of the condo about 2 weeks after the murder, and when asked why Thug called him Bitch Homie Quan 2 months after Nut's death, he didn't have an answer. Providing the investigator with Young Thug's phone numbers, the investigator asked if Thug ever made any threatening messages to him, but Rich Homie would state he's smarter than that. Roughly 30 minutes into the interview, the paperwork would be cut off. So realistically, we don't know how long Rich Homie sat down with investigators.
Could have been a whole hour.
But we do know
The Quantes, Rich Homie, Quan, Lamar.
he's on the YSL witness list. This leaves the possibility that Rich Homie would be called in to testify against Thug, as he'd have to recite everything said in the interview.
Rich Homie might do that shit too, cause like Thug had his daddy shut up, bro. That shit, I ain't know none of this shit in Atlanta, bro. This shit
In
crazy.
front of Young Thug. So did Rich Homie Quan snitch? Absolutely.
It's on paperwork.
Legend Thug was behind the murder of Nut, the shooting of his father, and the shooting of his truck. Rich Homie would say he's keeping it real with investigators, and regardless of whether or not he portrayed a street lifestyle and abides by the street code, this is another major loss for the city of Atlanta, as another Atlanta rapper has cooperated.
Damn.
Now this is bad, and from what I heard from a source in Atlanta, the DA is trying to find out who's leaking all this. And
Who's doing this?
they're trying to put charges on people for leaking this information. Because stuff like this will make a witness not want to cooperate.
Facts.
And if a witness is like, hey, I just got exposed by so-and-so and they just released all this stuff that y'all said wasn't going to get released, I don't want nothing to do with this, I don't want to testify, the courts can then charge that person with tampering with the witness. You just affected the case by fucking up a witness testimony. So this is getting deep. They're trying to find out who exposed YSL Woody. I guarantee you they're trying to find out who just released the audio to Rich Homie Quan.
Who's doing all this?
I feel that
And how do these niggas have this info, bro? How are these niggas that smart to get this shit, bro?
a lot of people are gonna have different opinions in this situation. Does Rich Homie Quan abide by the street code? I never heard of him having a gang affiliation. I don't really remember him talking about shooting people, this, that, and the third. He's saying a close friend of his was killed. He's willing to tell investigators everything he knows. He's saying his father was targeted and shot, and he
I be telling too, nigga, what? You trying to shoot my daddy? What's wrong with you, bro?
himself was targeted and shot at. And goddamn, it's just like, who else is gonna tell? Who else already told and we don't know about it? I mean,
Everybody telling.
they got mad names on the witness list. Even Lil Wayne and YFN Lucci. And Lucci just
Lil Wayne is on the witness list?
denied the deal they were trying to give him in his RICO case. So I can't imagine what they have.
Lil Wayne would be part of this because Thug did try to assassinate Wayne, bro.
That would make him a witness in this case. But in my opinion, just from what I read, since we don't know how long this interrogation actually was, we just know it was about 30 minutes, he did bad. He definitely did bad. Definitely didn't have to say all that, but made the decision to do so. I haven't heard a response from him after everything came out on the internet. I know that the night this video is being recorded, he's supposed to be performing at the same show as Boosie and Webby. And I don't know if there's going to be any conflict from that situation. We're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But hey, let me know y'all thoughts and comments in the comments section. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all.
You're rocking with me.
Until next time.
Damn, Quan.
Yeah, shawty told me she believe nothing, she don't really ever say